Hi, wrestling fans. Thanks for clicking the Dreaded D-Rose report. I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. Ooh, it was hot around here. Been 91, 93, I think, yesterday, 95. Spent pretty much all the day in the pool with the kids. All right, hey, let's go on to wrestling news. Got 2 days worth. LANA did suffer a wrist injury while working out in the ring before a WWE live event in Fairfax, Virginia this past weekend. Says here during a training session, this is what WWE says, on Sunday afternoon, Lana sustained an injury in the ring, and we extend to her and notice that she had a deformity of her wrist. I never heard of call it a deformity, but that's what Dr. Scott Ennon said, ringside physician. And it continues that we x-rayed, we're going to be x-raying her wrist and everything. He said it shows that the callus fracture. I don't know what a callus fracture is for sure, but we put her in a splint, they said, and most of the callus fractures do better surgically than non-surgically, especially in younger women. Mostly will require an operation, but which we will take her out of action and competitive action for approximately 4 months. That's if they do the surgery. I'm not sure which they're going to do yet. They haven't decided. And I got a little more information on that here in a few. Tonight's Raw, well, I told you about, we already seen tonight's Raw. I got 2 days worth. I got Mondays. Usually I have Sundays and Mondays. But anyway, don't know if anybody caught the network's Steve Austin's podcast with Edge and Christian. If you did, let me know. All right. It's worth noting that WWE Tough Enough finalist Amanda, she was in Baltimore for last night's Raw. Kind of thinking, she was going to show up on there. I really haven't seen all of Raw yet, so I can't say very much. All right, here's a little clarification thing. Chad Dukes of CBS Radio, Washington, D.C., the fan, says ChadDukes.wrestling.com, recently spoke with UFC President Dana White, and there's a full interview online, but about his comments that he made a few weeks ago about wrestling being fake. Well, anyway, here's what Dana White had to say. Listen, try to do anything without pissing people off. He said, try it. And he said, I mean anything you say to the people that get mad, they just gotta not care, and I don't care. He says, anything you say on Twitter, Instagram, these days, I have a different group mad at me no matter what happens. My Twitter and social media has been acting up, since the day I got on it. One of the things, he said, you got to be the best, and more successful you become, the bigger things get, and the harder it is for somebody to end up getting mad at you. But anyway, he said I had my battles with Vince behind the scenes, and some of the stuff we worked on, and he said I got all the respect for the guys in WWE and the wrestling profession. I do have many guys that are UFC fans in wrestling, and many UFC fans, of course, the other way. They treat each other with respect, he says. I haven't met a bad guy from wrestling, from the wrestling world. Everybody's real classy, everybody's real cool. He said my wrestling thing was just a response to an idiot on social media that was talking smack, so I decided to give him a zinger back, and the whole wrestling world went crazy on me, he says, but it is what it is, and he said, to be honest with you, I really don't care. All right, today's news. Noted before that Monday there was a negative internal WWE reaction to wrestlers publicly asking for illegal UFC pay-per-view streams on Twitter this past weekend. Not just because it was UFC, but because it hurts WWE's business as well. And I know you guys out there who you are. And in an update, apparently the wrestlers seen doing this were from the indies, and some of them worked for Lucha Underground, but they weren't named. And it was noted Brian Alvarez on F4W Online by a WWE source that the wrestlers likely lost any chance of ever being noticed by WWE. And the other day I was telling you about the LANA's statement on her training injury. and how she wanted to make fans very proud of her and all this stuff. She said, ever since I've debuted in WWE, she said, I continue to work at WWE's NXT and come in hours early before live events and train and learn how to fight. Well, anyway, Alvarez again noted yesterday that WWE source contacted him and said Lana hasn't been seen at the Performance Center in like forever. And if she and Rusev are still together off screen, that is, they live in Nashville. And is also worth noting that we rarely, if ever, see or hear about Lana ever been in NXT live event these days. It is possible Lana was just working a training storyline, but we don't know for sure. So kind of everything you, like Dana White said, everything you hear, just don't believe it too much on don't believe what I'm telling you. Well, kind of. Believe this, Paige and Alicia Fox, they were kicked out of the Baltimore's Sopranos Prime Steakhouse Seafood and Pasta Sunday night. Apparently, and I guess the customer was harassing them for photos and videos and stuff, leading to drinks being thrown by the two sides, both of them. This led to the restaurant staff separating the two sides and ejecting them from the establishment. TMZ spoke to the employee who worked that night and said that Alicia Fox squared off against the lady, and then all hell broke loose as drinks flew from both corners, mostly margaritas. Oh, they were expensive too. And employees jumped in and stopped the fight, and the drunk lady and the divas were all booted from the restaurant. And I got some good news for you. Bo Dallas is in line for a new gimmick. Yeah. No other details have been available yet, but the word is that if, this is referring to a slight change we saw in the Bo Dallas character on Thursday's SmackDown. After debuting a new finisher and attacking R-Truth following their match, Bo cut a promo and said he tried to help inspire people for so long and they just turned it into a joke. Although he did say what he did to R-Truth was really funny, and said he believes he will be a lot more humorous in the future. That's a funny thing to say, isn't it? All right. Monday's Raw ranked number 3 among non-sporting events for Nielsen's Twitter TV ratings, and it was right behind The Bachelor and Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. I know you guys wait to hear that. WWE's website indicates Lana won't be with Dolph Ziggler at the match against Rusev at Night of Champions. There was some speculation that Lana could still accompany Ziggler while she recovers from her wrist injury. Apparently, as long as she don't walk on her wrist, she could still make it down to the ring, I'm fairly sure. But it looks like she won't be on TV at all. I thought maybe they're planting all this stuff in our little minds that she will show up at Night of Champions and screw up Ziggler and cause him to lose. Announced today the signing of international superstar Kanako, also known as Kana, to the NXT division. Kana will officially report to the Performance Center in late September. Over the course of her 11 years, Kana has become one of the most exciting women ever to compete in Japan. And she has appeared in many organizations throughout the country and has held multiple championships. And last month, Kana made a surprise appearance at NXT TakeOver, sitting in the audience ringside to WWE Hall of Famer Nature Boy Ric Flair, if you remember that. And it says here, we're very excited to have Kana join on the NXT roster, says Paul Levesque. I don't know who that is. Anyway, she said, he says her exciting in-ring style will make an immediate impact on already impressive NXT women's division. Looking forward to seeing her in action, not sitting next to Ric Flair. Thanks for clicking, you guys. I gotta go.